All right, look, this is not a Cosmos versus Gojo video because 9 times out of 10, Cosmos is getting Gojo's balls dragged across her face. Now, getting Gojo's balls dragged across her face isn't the worst thing in the world. I mean, factually, it isn't. You could always drown or get suffocated by a whale. But in this case, it would result in Cosmos' death, which is something that, you know, let's try and avoid with this video. So therefore, this will be a domain expansion, infinity, unlimited void, infinite void. I don't know. Forget all the translations, but Gojo's domain expansion against Cosmos is Halloween. So, in case if you need a reminder, Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen, his domain expansion technique is basically where he uses his opponent's knowledge and force it upon them in such large increments to the point where they can't even process anything to begin with. The amount of knowledge, information, whatever you want to call it, that they take in depends on how long they're in the domain expansion. Now, my lady here, the Cosmo Fiend from Chainsaw Man, she has the knowledge of everything in the universe, a huge difference compared to Gojo, and basically she can bring her opponents into her mind and cast the entire universe, the knowledge of everything, into her opponent's head. Now, this is where I would say, if you had your bets placed on Gojo, I would retract those and go ahead and show my girl some love, because in my opinion, I got Cosmos taking a bag. More than likely. Number one, Gojo doesn't really have any counters when it comes to mental attacks, nor do we really ever see that in the series. So, yeah, and we're probably never going to see that. But what about reverse curse technique? So Gojo runs this thing called reverse curse technique in the background, this special sauce that is basically the multiplication of negative curse energy into positive curse energy, which that positive energy you can use to heal yourself. In this case, he's simply preserving his brain so it doesn't get to the point of no return, which would be his brain being fried. Some Jujutsu Kaisen fans believe that Gojo's just immune to any mental technique. It doesn't matter who it's from, what it is. Now, this whole healing thing that he's doing to his brain is revolving around the techniques that he's using simultaneously. He's not expecting someone else to come in that bitch, let alone an omniscient being, and stack on the entire universe. It's not that hard to understand that someone else can come in and override this whole refreshing thing that Gojo's doing to his brain simply by someone abruptly inserting a monumental task on top of the pile that he's already trying to maintain, which he would have to process first, since it would be an external source, not something internal that he knows damn well he can handle and prep for with reverse curse technique. I'm sorry, but he's not recovering from this one, since he would need a running brain or something somewhat up there so he can even run reverse curse technique in the first place, or any technique for that matter. And what most definitely doesn't help Gojo's case here is the fact that once Cosmo activates her ability, while it seems like everything happens in her head, in reality the whole process, the whole effect happens instantly, similar to Itachi Tsukuyomi from Naruto. Maybe if he was the vessel of Sukuna, similar to Itadori, then sure, maybe you can pull off having another source using reverse curse technique for you, but how are you about to use it when you're not even there? However, if we're talking about a maximum output of positive energy, that still doesn't change shit, because as long as your technique is powerful enough, you can even start healing before you get attacked, especially a technique that's specifically targeting the brain, which would have an instant effect. All you need is a second, baby. Once you're in there for 1 second, you can disrupt this guy's whole system. Now, I don't really want to bring up the 6 eyes because I feel like a lot of this goes without saying, but I feel like I have to. The 6 eyes would be completely useless. I don't know what people think the 6 eyes is, but I mean, we're not even talking about an ocular technique or anything, but even if we were, the 6 eyes mainly revolves around curse energy. That's why it's extremely useful against cursed spirits, cursed users, and jujutsu sorcerers. Take that eye out of Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm telling you, it's not that effective. I mean, sure, it increases your perception and your processing power, but there's levels to this. That's all fine and dandy, all cool in Jujutsu Kaisen, especially where people don't really use mental techniques like that. But once you take it out to other series, let alone here, we're talking about try to process the whole universe. You can't. And that's essentially what Gojo's going to meet his match. Karma's a bitch. He's going to go against someone that's going to force him to try to comprehend the universe all in one moment like he be doing other niggas. Though the difference here, it's not about to be in increments. You about to get the full serving, the full meat in one stroke. It seems like Cosmo has some type of control, or at the very least some type of leverage after the Halloween has been casted on her targets. Once she pulled up to a sushi spot, she casted a Halloween on one of the employees who was scared shitless, but all of a sudden after that, they're getting served full meals for the free ski. So I'm not gonna lie, this is somewhat of a reach, but at the same time, it really isn't, because we have seen devils in Chainsaw Man, besides the control devil, have the ability to control depending on how they go about it. Similar to the Famine devil, she's able to control users by starving them. So if Cosmo has the ability to control her targets that she casted Halloween on, then at that point, she could just make Gojo kill himself. Cosmo actually has counters when it comes to Gojo's domain. Again, the difference between Gojo, he doesn't actually possess all that information in his head. He's just manipulating his opponents, whereas Cosmo actually possesses that information. When Santa Claus realized that she was in Cosmo's mind, Cosmo then described the books in her library as everything in the universe, meaning that she actually possesses the knowledge of everything in the universe. And Akutami has shown and stated that Gojo's domain expansion's effect is different depending on his opponent. The effect on a human is different than a curse, because apparently the brain's construction is different. So imagine the brain of the omniscient. It honestly wouldn't be crazy to say that Cosmo might honestly eat those, or at the very least, she might tank the effect long enough to cast her own technique. Cosmo went against Santa Claus, and if you know about Santa Claus' whole idea, her technique is basically turning humans into dolls, and then those dolls, all their minds are linked. So she confronted Cosmo about it and said verbatim, "Your attack will be as meaningless as trying to dye the ocean red with a single drop of blood, because all the minds are linked. Your technique would have to be powerful enough to take out all the minds of the dolls that are being scattered all around the world. Even in Japan alone, we've seen how much dolls there were." And this version of Santa Claus, this is after the Darkness Devil amp, and even then, Cosmo didn't even really care. She really ignored it, and she was like, everything as you understand it doesn't even fill one page in one book in this library. One page, not one book, one page. She then proceeds to one-shot Santa Claus, and boom, it's a GG. But yeah, that's the video. That's my opinion. Basically, the only way Cosmo doesn't lose is if she somehow cast Halloween on Gojo. And if Gojo gets trapped, then it's GG's, bro. All Gojo really gotta do is keep his distance. So one hollow purple should do the trick. And whatever he do, he cannot entertain this bitch. I'm pretty sure if you repeat Halloween after she says Halloween, it's a GG, it's a wrap, you're done. So if Gojo just keeps his mouth shut, which based off the story, I don't know, bro. Gojo likes to have fun. He likes to play with his food sometimes, so he would be the type to follow up with Halloween and then get trapped in her technique. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about this down in the comments below. And yeah.